And like our first step, it's always to see how they are doing with their PPC. And it's amazing to see that the people that come to us, they are making always the same mistakes over and over again. And the first big one I would highly suggest to everyone who is watching this video to analyze.
I truly believe like my team is our biggest competitive advantage. And just one A-level player can change your business. Imagine 5 A-level players and that are leadership, bringing direction to your brand. Like that's game changing for you. So Stefano, all right. So let's say people are like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like I should hire people. Like I get the leverage. So walk me through, Stefano, you're hiring PPC experts left and right. For you, it is your core competency. You've got to be able to spot people that are good at PPC. So maybe can you walk us through like what does your hiring process look like? How do you spot, identify, recruit, and ultimately decide who you're bringing onto your team? And maybe these can be some takeaways for our brand owners that want to build their own in-house team.
100%. So first of all, in the description below, I think Josh and the team, they will let a PDF where you can see what is our framework on how we hire team members. And we will share the job description and everything we do. The first thing that we always do is, and still by far the best way we have found to find top players, is to start with outreach on LinkedIn. So the first step by far is to generate demand. So we want to start by, let's say, attacking the market and try to find as many candidates as possible. We want to have, we don't want to be in a place where we just speak with 3 people and then we take a decision on these 3 people. Like that is a common mistake I see and that I was also making in the past. I was just speaking with like 2-3 people and I say, okay, I need to find someone. Let me hire this one. At the beginning, you want to have options because you don't know what you're looking for at the beginning. And the best way that I've seen for me to understand who is the person I'm looking for is to have volume in my calendar and to speak with many people. So you can actually see what is the difference between good and great. And so that is the first step. I would say like focus on volume at the beginning because most of the time, most e-commerce founder, they haven't hired many people in the past. So maybe you don't have a clear idea on what you're doing. And I think with volume, you can decrease the chances that you will hire a bad person. That is my hypothesis. So that is the first thing I would do. If let me share my screen so I can share what we usually suggest to do if you decide to hire in-house. So let's say that we want to hire someone in-house, and we know that when we hire someone in-house, there are some advantages and disadvantages. We know that the right PPC manager could be a game changer for you, as you said, Josh. Like your team is your biggest moat of your business, but the wrong one could be a nightmare because if you're in the wrong PPC manager, they could make some big mistake on your PPC account, and that could make you lose lots of money. So I also like the phrase from the co-founder of LinkedIn, which is the team you build is the company you build. And the PPC manager, I would say, is a key role in an e-commerce brand, especially an Amazon brand, because Amazon PPC, as we said at the beginning, is driving, let's say, 50% of the total revenue, 50 to 60% of the total revenue is coming from PPC. And we discussed that, okay, we want to bring PPC in-house, but what are the advantages and disadvantages? So the advantage is that we have control, we have focus, we have one person who is analyzing our account every single day. We have specificity, so we know that this person is focusing on our account only, and it can go deep in the account. Long-term could be cost savings. So we know that if we have someone in-house, most likely will cost less than having an agency or outsourcing this. And we can also have SOPs and processes in-house. So let's say that in the future, we need to sell the business. If we have SOPs and processes, the person who is buying the business can quickly replicate what we are doing. On the disadvantages that we need to source and hire someone, we need to train them, we need to keep them accountable, we need to keep them, so we cannot lose them. We need to make sure it's a cultural fit, so we need to make sure that they embody our values. And they will need some support when things go wrong. Again, we can attack these disadvantages by having some skills. As we discussed before, if you know how to source and hire PPC manager, that is not an issue anymore. If you know how to train them, that's totally fine. If you know how to keep them accountable, and if you know how to make sure that they are not leaving. So if you don't treat them badly, so try to make your best to create a good environment for them. So you can fix all of these. And for most Amazon sellers, I would say like a PPC manager is enough. I know, Josh, you have a bigger PPC team, but also you have a massive catalog. But I would say like for most sellers that are doing less than 10 million a year, a PPC manager is enough to manage the PPC. And if you want to maximize the PPC manager time, you could leverage a PPC assistant to delegate to the PPC assistant some of the tasks. For example, campaign creation, some repetitive tasks, and so on. And the PPC manager is more strategic. I don't know, Josh, if you agree on having. I don't know at the beginning when you hire your first PPC manager, if your idea was to hire multiple PPC manager or was just to hire one. I'm curious, what was your journey at the beginning?
Yeah, with our large SKU count, I've always known that like this is going to require multiple people.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hire somebody at the beginning that I knew had the leadership potential to grow into be a leader that could oversee the entire account, but they need other team members that will sit underneath them and report up to them. So I hired one rock star to begin with that, could manage the whole account, but then I knew they would get stretched thin, at which point I would need to hire other team members underneath them. And for me, like one of the most important things as you grow your team is you should be seeing it as like a pipeline. Every hire you bring in, arguably every single one of those needs to have leadership potential, especially if your brand's going to 9 figures. Because the worst thing that you can do is hire somebody that is the perfect fit for the job right now, but only that, right? It's like, hey, they're good at this. I think they could plug the hole right here, but I think there's limited upside, right? Like they're probably not going to be a great leader, but they can plug this hole for me right now. If you choose to do that, know that you are stacking management debt in your business. So there's always financial debt, or there's also knowledge debt, right? You don't know what you don't know. And then there's also management debt within a business. So you are stacking management debt if you're like, I just need the cheapest person over somewhere, outsource it, $4 an hour, $5 an hour. That's a massive win. I laugh at that to most brand owners that say they're patting themselves on the back for getting somebody at $4 an hour. And I say, oh, I want leaders, and I'm willing to pay for leaders that are above market average. But because of that, they can rise and grow with the business. They're not just filling an immediate hole in the business. So I think that's my recommendation, Stefano, is like, as you start and you have bigger aspirations for your brand to grow, make sure you hire, like, your first person needs to be like, they're almost better than the current role that you're giving them, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. And that is what I'm also trying to do for my own business. Like, if I look back, in the end, like the first few hires, and the PPC manager most of the time is one of your first hire because you are dedicating lots of time on the PPC, is so important. And after they scale with you, they grow with you, they understand your brand, they can take over more tasks from you. You can focus on other part of the business. So I agree with you. Like, that is sometimes what annoys me as well. Like, especially on the PPC side, you cannot aim for just someone who can follow some SOPs. You don't want that. Like, I don't feel like that is the solution to your problem. You want someone with critical thinking, what we call a level 3, which is a problem solver or more. We'll share in a second this framework. But I 100% agree with you. Like, I don't like I was speaking with another client, like another seller who wants to work with us. And yeah, so I asked him how much you are paying your PPC manager. And I was shocked, like because it was so low that I said, how do you expect, so that they can perform and they can keep growing your brand is like, and he was shocked when I told him how much we usually pay. And so I 100% agree with you. Like you cannot overpay for a top talent. That is what I like to say.
Yeah, and so as you pull that up, here's the other important thing I think people need to know. They are managing your biggest expense line item in the business. So why outsource that to like the cheapest rate possible, right? Like I'm always like, okay, it's great. If you can find somebody that's maybe undervalued but has massive potential, okay. But that's few and far between. You've got to kiss a lot of toads along the road to find somebody that's undervalued but has massive management potential. So with that, I guess like my question to you, Stefano, was like, what's the typical going rate for you and your team, and what are you recommending for even other brand owners?
So it here depends on the location, as we all know. Most of the Amazon brands that they're hiring in Europe, I would say Eastern Europe or Asia. So that is what I see. For Eastern Europe, I would say between $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 a month. That is what I usually see is the average salary for a PPC manager in-house inside one brand. And for Asia, so this depends also on the country. It could be Pakistan, India, or Philippines. We see that this could vary from I would say the lower end is $800 and the higher end could go to $2,500, $3,000. And so this is what we see overall, like this is the range. Does it look good to you, Josh? I know you hire quite a few people as well.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely like we're in the ballpark, right? With that. And then you're right. I think the key thing is like, do you have different levels in your business? Right? Because the key aspect would be this. Do you have like you need to be able to hire junior people, but only after you have your senior leader in place. So then you could like, all right, I'm going to take a bet on this person. Maybe they're starting at like a lower level, but have bigger upside. So you're right. It depends on the countries. It depends on the level that you're bringing them in at. But if you're looking for a rock star, like I would always argue, like take a look at that and add an extra $1,000 or so, right? If you want, like, and Alex Ramosi talks about this as well. Again, I take from this playbook that's like, do you want the best talent in your business? This is the biggest leverage point. So why not pay them above market average?
Agree. Yes. As you said, depends on the seniority, depends on also how much they can help you, how much you need to train them, how much you believe they can grow in your business. And so there are different factors. And I think here would be great if I share this framework that I found it really useful when hiring people, that I stole from My First Million podcast. And I forgot the name of the host, but it's the triangle of talents, they call it. And I would say like it's pretty useful to understand when you speak with a PPC manager what you're looking for. So they define as each person inside an organization as a level. So we have level 1 that even if you tell them what to do, they rarely do it, so they're not reliable. The level 2 is that you tell them what to do and how to do it and when to do it, and they will get it done. So this is, let's say, it's a VA, someone you can delegate admin stuff. So great for these kind of roles. And then we have level 3, level 4, level 5. Obviously, the higher the level, the more we will need to pay them, the more impact we need to give, and the more impact they will have on the business. And usually, the higher the level, the more freedom and trust you need to give them. And what we like to suggest for a PPC manager is that you want to have at least a level 3 with the potential, as you said before, Josh, to go to level 5. So with the potential to be a superstar in your business. And you want to have at least on the PPC side someone who is a problem solver. So they know you need to tell them what to do, but they are able to figure it out the rest of the details. Especially on the PPC side, you don't want to have someone you need to explain how to create campaigns or how to change the bids. Like you want someone who can figure it out. Like that is what I like to say. Like someone who can take ownership of the platform And if you tell them what to do, they were able to do it. At least that level. On a level above is the system thinker, where you tell them the problem, they set up the system to figure it out. So people plus processes, and they will be able to fix the problem. So the idea is that here you're still the one telling them what is wrong in the account, but they will be able to set up some system to make sure the problem is not happening anymore. And here you need someone with a deep understanding of the platform, and also with a sense of ownership of the marketing department. They understand that you're giving them the trust, and they can take action in the account. And the final one, these are what we call a superstar. So these people, when I think about my team and I think about the superstar, you are shocked because you see, wow, that these people really gave me back so much time. They improved the product, they improved the PPC, and they're doing a much better job than me. So we like to use this framework because during an interview, I like to say, okay, I think this person is a person number level 3, but I see that he's eager to learn, and I think he can go to level 4 thanks to our training or thanks to our internal training. So this is a framework we like to use to define also where our team members are, and try to tell them, okay, I think if you want to go to level 5, this is what you should do. So yes.
Fantastic framework. I absolutely love that. And I think like those listening and watching, like pay attention to that. Like it is true. And again, go check out my hiring process. I have a 7-step hiring process that we vet people through. And part of that is like understanding at what level people are at. And I have very certain things that I have them do as part of the application process that allows me to peg them in terms of what level that they're at. So I think that is super, super important.